All right, friends, it's time to get our thoughts together when it comes to these three things: praise, prayer, and the word. Your devotional life, the things you do every day, why do you do them? Are you going to do them? How do you do them? We're going to talk about this all week long. This is going to be really good. Let's start right now. Hey friends, Pastor Joe Barlow here, and this week we're going to talk about getting our lives in order and getting a hold of some things that are going to help us personally to grow. I think I want to challenge you to put some practices in your life, practices of prayer, praise, and getting into the Word. I know those are simple things, but I'm telling you, I need help on these things too. And so if I've been at this long and I still need help, my brothers and sisters, we all need help on this. So now, let me just tell you a little bit about what I'm going to be talking about this week, and that is establishing good practices in your life is essential. You know, they say that success comes from the habits in your life and putting things in place, putting bricks in place that stay in place. When I first got born again when I was 11 years old, my brother gave me a Bible. And I was so excited about it that I said, I'm going to start at the beginning and read all the way through. And he said, now hold up. He said, you probably should just, start in the New Testament, start reading there. That way, you kind of get the right picture. And you probably have much more chance of success of getting through it. So I started reading my Bible every day. Well, there was no need for discipline when you're hungry. There's no need for discipline when you want something badly. You just keep going after it. Discipline comes in later when other things try to come in and drag you away to the left or to the right, away from what you have had your heart set on. Like when you're engaged or when you just meet, a guy or a girl, that you're attracted to, and you want to talk to them, and you're starting to develop it towards engagement and then marriage, maybe, who knows. You don't need self-discipline to make sure you call that person. Oh, I got to remember to call them. No, that's the first thing in your mind. You want to call them. You want to spend time with them. You're anxious. You're desirous. Your desires are high to go and spend time with that person. Okay? That's awesome. Well, the same thing when you get born again. Man, I know for myself, I just wanted. I made a beeline right to my chair to sit down and read my Bible. I loved it so much. Okay? And my brother said, underline anything that makes sense to you. I would just spend hours and hours and hours as an 11-year-old boy reading my Bible. I loved it. No discipline needed there. That's like if somebody said, takes you over to the ice cream parlor and says, you have to eat this ice cream sundae. And you're like, oh, I don't want to. No, you have to. All right. Well, that's like a ridiculous scenario. Everybody wants to eat ice cream. Well, almost everyone. There's a few here and there who don't get pulled by that. But when the desire is high, the need for discipline is not there. However, as you continue through your life, if you allow the habits and the desire to start to wane, and in Jesus said in Mark chapter 4, he said, the other things, the weeds come in and try to choke the word that God spoke into our hearts. And here, when the weeds come into your life and start to choke off that time that you had with God in praise and prayer and in the Word, and the devil starts choking that off with all the cares of this life and the lust for other things and all these worries and concerns, and all of a sudden you find yourself without desire, and you're like, but I really wanted to do that. I want to have time with God. I want to grow in my faith. I want to learn more. I want to spend time in the scriptures. I know that there's riches waiting for me there, but things happened here and things happened there that pulled me away. And why? I want to have that time. Well, this is where discipline comes in. And you just go ahead and make a decision. And you set your heart back on things above. And that's what it says in the book of Colossians. It says, set your affections on things above, not on things of the earth. Okay? So if we set our affections back up onto the things above, like prayer, praise, the word, spending time with God, meditating on the scriptures, singing, all those types of things. As we set our hearts on those things, then it's going to take precedence over, I got to go check all my, make sure everything, I've checked everybody in Facebook, make sure everything's going on. And I got to go check my news. Well, if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you're getting into is Facebook or the news, well, there's somebody else waiting in line who shouldn't be waiting in line. And it's God himself. He wants to meet with you. And so I want to encourage you that spending time with God is a very rewarding practice. It's very rewarding. And he's waiting there for you. And the things he wants to share with you, my goodness, they'll set your day in motion the way that you want it to be set in motion. So, years ago, I used to pray every day. Me and Nancy made a decision when we first got married that we were going to pray for an hour a day in the Spirit, praying in tongues for an hour a day. And so we started, and we were going at it, and we would get up early. Sometimes we'd get up at 5 a.m., sometimes we'd get up at 6 a.m., and we would literally set a timer and start praying in tongues. And as we were praying in tongues, man, things were happening because it was like God would go ahead of us through our prayers and take care of things. Nancy likens it to a cow catcher on the front of one of those old trains. You know how they had the triangular thing out front? That was actually to catch the cows and knock them off the tracks. They called it a cow catcher. Okay, so it knocked the cows off the tracks as the train was coming through. So prayer and praise and that time with God can be a time of where God has the opportunity to move things out of the way in your life that could slow you down. And he really wants to have that time. Well, but then as time went on, I was praying in the Spirit, and man, we were diligent and we were seeing good things happen. And then I read a book, or I listened to a teaching by Andrew Womack, and he was talking about how, he had to get up and pray, and he was so diligent to get up and pray. And then, he talked about this conversation with the Lord, when the Lord was like, it seemed like the Lord was getting worn out by that. And I got confused in my heart. And so I stopped praying in the Spirit for an hour a day. When in fact, I felt like that was an assignment from God. But then this book or this teaching from Andrew confused me. I didn't understand, well, why wouldn't God want to spend time with me? And now I didn't think those things out loud, but that's what I thought. And so I just, the next day it was like, I'm just going to sleep in then, and so I slept in. And then that became a habit of skipping that prayer time because I thought if God doesn't want that time with me, why would I want that time with him? I don't want to be a burden to him. And there was a misunderstanding there. It's really important that we understand this misunderstanding. And I want to go to a passage in Hebrews chapter 6, verse 1. And it says, therefore, leaving the principles of the doctrine of Christ, let us go on unto perfection, not laying again the foundation of repentance from dead works and of faith toward God. Now, what I didn't understand about what Andrew was saying and what threw me off. Now, I highly, highly regard Andrew Womack's teaching, okay? And I send him money every month, okay? I'm just, because I believe in his ministry, and when we, as a church, we support him, and it's just been, he's such a blessing. He's I consider him one of the best, if not the best teacher in the body of Christ that I've ever heard. And but that teaching that he gave threw me off. And it's like, wow, I just misunderstood. Now, here's the deal. God called Nancy and I to pray, and that was supposed to be a discipline, not a dead work. Now, a dead work is anything that you do to try to add to your salvation. Here's God's salvation, what he did for you. And he gave us the gift of righteousness. But here, then you try to add on top of it and stack up your good works on top of what he did. Those are dead works, and they are not acceptable in the sight of God. And it's not something we should be doing, trying to do things to please God in a way that we're trying to gain favor with God. No, your favor with God was purchased through Jesus Christ and what he did for you on the cross. He purchased your righteousness. He purchased your salvation. He gave it to you as a free gift. Me and Nancy spending time praying was an assignment that God gave to us that we were supposed to do above and beyond, it's just what we were called to do. It wasn't trying to gain any favor with him. It was just doing what he told us to do. I got so much more to share with you. My friends, please don't miss this week. It's going to really help you grow. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey friends, this is John Barlow. Here at JBM, we've been working on a way to teach you how to hear the voice of God. And we have created a course that takes you all the way from hearing God for the very first time to talking with him every second of the day. Go and take a look right now at josephbarlow.com. Thanks for watching.
Hey friends, if you liked today's program, do me a favor. Click like, leave a comment, but the best thing that you can do for us is to click share and then make it public so that all your friends can get a hold of this, all right? Please do that. That would help us a lot. God bless.